The mid-season patch just dropped and we have some nutty changes coming in. First off, Queen's knife damage has been increased. Yeah, we're getting right into it. A while back, her knife damage had a net nerf, where she did more bleed damage with it, but less damage overall, as a part of her bleed passive change. The goal was to get Queen to play more for getting bleeds off, having bleed uptime like Brig has her Inspire uptime. The plan worked for sure, since Queen is really strong right now if you manage to weave in a lot of bleed effects at the same time. But the knife took a nasty nerf that has hurt ever since. And now, she'll be able to confirm more kills with her knife, and also burst people down in longer ranges. 15 is nothing to sneeze at, especially when the cooldown is so short, at only 6 seconds. Make sure to check out a GameLeap subscription using the link in the description below. There's tons of different plans to get access to all sorts of information, including massive support for supports. Every role has a default way to play the game. Tanks want to take space, DPS want to deal damage, and supports want to support. But support means a lot more than just taking space and dealing damage. You can do it in so many different ways, so check out the subscription to find out how. Let's get started already? Now into Orisa. Her Fortify has gotten the Winston bubble treatment. Now it starts upon activation and not upon ending. This really isn't a big change at all, since canceling Fortify is really rare, and often when you're realistically not in any danger for the next 10 to 12 seconds. Orisa also gets value out of staying in Fortify, because her heat doesn't go up as fast, meaning you can get off a lot more shots in the duration. So canceling it's not gonna happen. The health that she gets during Fortify has been reduced from 125 to 100, but this is definitely not enough to shake Orisa off as the main Season 6 solo carry tank. Queen might be a bit better in certain comps though, so the Queen Orisa matchup is still evolving. And now for the third and final tank change, Zarya. She's had a monumental change where her projected barrier only, and not her self barrier, has had the cooldown decreased from 10 to 8. Her shield HP and size has also been increased, which has never happened before. Her shield HP is small, only 25 extra, but will be very strong for playing aggressively. The size increase also means you're more likely to take stray poke damage, so Zarya could be the new answer to the dominating Orisa, especially with the cooldown change. Just remember to bubble your allies now rather than just yourself to get advantage of the cooldown change, unless your whole team is sitting in Narnia playing sniper angles. There are no other tank changes besides these three frontline brawlers. Zarya, Orisa, and Queen are also amazing anchor players. They deal a lot of damage and hold a lot of space. So let's look at the DPS changes to see if they match up with Blizzard's vision for this patch, focusing on the front line. On to Ashe. Her reload speed has been increased yet again. She's always been a solid pick throughout the years, and now her uptime will be even better. Her reload speed has always kind of held her back because she's not able to consistently pressure the front line as much and is looking more for key shots, like headshots on squishies. This reload change was definitely not needed. She's still really strong, so make sure to really abuse her flexibility now, since you can easily focus on exploding front line with your headshots and hipfire spam without having to worry too much about flankers, since you'll be able to reload fast enough to recover. Holding two angles as Ashe is very possible, especially when you can one-shot headshot tracers. You can win a lot of ranked games just by focusing the enemy tank, and now Ashe can probably do that as well. Moving on to the next tank killer, Bastion. His grenade, which was definitely hitting unbelievable picks both before and during fights, has had his damage buff reverted, back to 15 impact damage. It'll sting a little less, and might lead to less chances that you get popped up in one shot, but the ability still has the insane knockback as always, so stay careful out there. His ultimate can no longer deal critical hits, but this is listed as more of a bug fix. The ultimate can still do almost 600 damage if you land at the center. Likewise, Reinhardt's Shatter at close range also counts as technically a critical hit, but this most likely doesn't change any damage numbers and is just for the kill feed. But no other changes means Bastion is still pretty tuned. Ashe buffed, Bastion not nerfed enough. It's looking good for the frontline spammers, but Mei has also received the buff to her Freeze Blaster and her cool passive. Her Freeze Spray's damage has been slightly increased in DPS, 65 to 70, small but still important. The second change is a bit confusing, but it works like this. When you hit a freeze stick on an enemy, there's a time until the freeze stick starts decaying and falling off, and your enemy gets back to normal speed. Now the time before the freeze stick starts decaying has been increased, meaning that tagging people with your spray will keep them slowed for a good bit longer. Her melee can also activate her Deep Chill passive, allowing her to actually get easy backline picks without needing to hit a right click. You gotta beware of the WM1 maze flanking your backline with no aim required. You're still better off using your Icicle to activate the Deep Chill effect. But now that melee is an option too, you can really go for some crazy burst combos. So to summarize the DPS changes, the frontline pressure is still really massive. No big changes to Bastion and nothing at all to Torb means that there's still a lot of damage flying in the front line. Zarya has always been held back by how much damage she can soak with her bubbles, but now that the number's been increased, and that you're now incentivized to use it on allies, she could become really strong, and maybe rescue us from all these Bastions and Torbs running around. And now, onto the supports. The roll passive has been nerfed across the board, with the self-heal kicking in 0.5 seconds later. This matters a lot, and means if you do engage a support, support, you will be able to kill them more consistently if your first engage doesn't work. Imagine all the times you use all of your cooldowns onto an Ana and she still lives. This time you'll get more value out of surviving the engage and quickly redeploying afterwards. So make sure to poke and prod a bit to get your targets low now that the passive is a bit slower. Some more self-healing is also being nerfed. Baptiste's super mega regen burst has finally gotten nerfed. It's been one of the best burst heal abilities in the game, and now the maximum healing has been reduced. It now will do a minimum of 80 healing, 40 instant and 40 over time, and a maximum of 120 healing if the target, self or allies, is below half health. 120 instant healing is still a massive amount, but reducing it helps tone down how oppressive it is, especially when the Bap himself is in a duel. Fighting Baptiste, even without Lamp, used to be 350 HP that you have to burn through, but now it's only 320. Considering a lot of final blows are with melees, 30 damage difference is a lot. Finally, Kiriko has a small quality of life change, very similar to Ramantra's Ravenous Vortex change a couple patches back. Her Suzu now passes through enemies, so you won't have to worry about them blocking it accidentally with their bodies, but you'll still have to respect shields and matrix abilities like Diva's or Orissa's. Unfortunately for all the support players, these changes are very small. A Bap nerf and a Kiriko small change doesn't mean a lot for the meta. Even though the change to Bap is pretty small, every change is really important in pushing an impressive hero out of the meta. But then again, Bap is great to play with Zarya. He's perfect at keeping her alive to be really aggressive. Okay, let's get into some composition recommendations. These are the characters and comps you want to play if you want to get instant value in the season right off the bat. Let's settle things first. The Orisa, Bastion, Torb, and Bap Larry comp is still really good. The Bap changes are the only meaningful changes to the comp, and it's definitely way too small of a change to affect the actual power level of the comp. So the Bunker Brawl is still really strong. But if you're looking to break it, the newly buffed Zarya, along with characters like Sojourn, Genji, or Reaper, are really gonna help. Bap and Lucio for the backline should finish it off, and they're always a strong pick in ranked. Queen herself is also a great alternative for the Zarya. Both Zarya and Queen have great synergy with characters like Reaper and Genji, who want to push and fast. Other brawl comps are also viable. In the previous patch, comps like Sim Bastion were really good when played with Lucio, but now Bastion Mei might be a little bit better on certain maps. Mei's freeze tick being decayed later means a lot. You'll seriously be putting a massive ball and chain on the frontline tank whenever you get the freeze on him. This is one of the most linear patches in a long time. Full increase in massive frontline pressure. Dive heroes and dive comps haven't been touched at all. The only thing they've received is that Bap is slightly easier to kill. But that just might be enough to see Winston, Ana, and Sombra back in the spotlight. Thanks for watching. Remember, to get maximum value out of all these new changes, get in ranked and grind it out. Find out what works for you, and try out all the new styles you can think of.